Good afternoon, Rada. Thank you for being a member of my channel. So you will have to send me a private message because we need to schedule private one-on-one lessons. So there's always one every month as long as you're a member of my channel. So hopefully that's a good news. Aside from the first that are indicated in my channel. So it says how many viewers I have. Okay, so how many viewers are here currently? Okay, so hold on. I need to copy my stream. Okay, so parang wala pa atang wala pa tayong international audience, kaya naggamit muna tayo. Okay, sino na kaya mga nandito? Yung iba ay tahimik, hindi nagsasalita. Hindi nagtatype ng message. Sino kaya? Yeah, for the meantime, Rada, if you want, pwede kang mag-perform dito sa taas kung gusto mo ipa-check ang iyong playing. So, ito yung link ng StreamYard para pwede kang mag-join sa akin and then you can play. Para marinig kita and you can also speak at the same time. Okay, so all you need to do is click the link para makasama ka dito. Para pwede kitang turuan ng one-on-one habang wala yung iba. Uh, hey, I'm back. So, um, sino gustong umakyat at gustong tumakbo? Hey, may bago na namang member. Thank you, Karen. Kay Armat. Thank you so much. Yeah, so for today, dalawa na kami na members. So, ayan, ibig sabihin mag-aaral ka na ng violin. Kasi kasama sa perks ang pagsali sa away dito sa masterclass, pagtagpag ng violin. Thank you sa pag-member. Salamat sa pag-stay. Parang late yata yung mga ibang kaya, mga ibang members or baka hirap sa pag-connect kanina kasi ang internet ngayon kanina nahirapan din mag-connect. Buti na dapat hindi pa naapektuhan. Hindi ko pa rin alam paano mag-pin ng maramihan. Paano ba mag-pin ng marami dito? Hmm. Hmm. Hindi siya mag-pin ng sabay-sabay. Hello, Master VTG. Mag-aaral ka naman ng violin? Hello, Miss Lady Pie. Thank you sa pag-visit. Wait, kailangan ko pa pala ibaba ang link ni kay Matt. Paano ba yun? Paano ko ba gagawin yan? Okay. Support po sa better half ng aking brother. Habang naghihintay sa ibang members, baka hindi pa kayo connected kay Arman. See you. Uh, Ayan, dumadami na tayo. Hello, Kanji. Okay. So, by the way, guys, kapag gusto niyo magbaba ng inyong link para sa mga seryoso mga YouTubers, please do so. Walang problema. Sa mga gusto ng mga subscribers at mga naghahanap, pwede niyo um, ibaba dyan. So, I think we need to start. Sino ang gustong umakyat para matuto or para ma-correct ang kanyang playing? Kanji. Gusto mo mag-start or si Rhoda. So, pag-click lang stream yan. Paano copy. And then, drop there. Salamat, Miss Lady Pie. Yung iba kasi dito ay hindi talaga, nandito lang para sa lessons. Kaya hintay-hintay po kayo dyan. Later po, i-check ko yung inyong channel. Hindi ko po siya magawa ngayon. So, well noted po siya. Salamat po sa pag-stay. So now, sila ang gustong matuto. So, hi, si Ben. Oh, Ben, tips. Gusto mo mag-perform ngayon? Kasi last time ay hindi ka pa umaakyat. Sino gusto magpakita, magpa-check ng kanyang playing? So, habang naghihintay sa ibang members, usually ang maaga sila ngayon ay mas marami ang late. Again, so recap na natin yung mga dapat tandaan. Play. So of course, first of all, yung violin kailangan ay parallel to the ground. Hindi siya nakatulog pababa, hindi nakatulog pataas. So straight lang siya. Tapos yung gaze or kung saan tayo nakatingin, ay dun sa skull, yung direction ng skull, yun yung gaze natin. Para kapag inilagay yung fingers, kita mo na rin pati yung string na tututugan. And then, wrist away from the neck. Yung neck at ito, yung finger ko ng violin. Or yung sa heel, at ang heel ng violin should move your wrist away from any part of the instrument. So kailangan nakalayo siya. Hindi siya pwedeng ganito or else haharang siya doon. Hindi ka makakapag-move eventually kung saan mo gusto pumunta. Roda, ano nangyari nga ulit sa violin mo? Wala ka pang violin yan. Well, anyway, meron kang free lesson for the month. Sa loob na isang buwan ay pwede tayo mag-schedule ng free lesson sa'yo dahil ikaw ay ating bagong member. Sabi ko lang kaya mag-start na siya mag-violin kasi meron na siyang free lesson. So lahat po, those who want to join my channel, yung magiging members, meron silang free na lesson every month hanggat members sila. So actually, malaking discount na kapag nandito. Marami na nagtanong kung magkano ang fee. Pero nagigulat. But anyway, so now, ang wrist naman ng going arm, yung right arm, usually mas mataas siya ng konti, 1 to 5 degrees higher than the elbow. Bakit? Kasi kapag higher siya kaysa sa wrist, bubuhat na natin yung weight ng buong arm, mas mahirap mag-play kasi mabigat. Therefore, ibagsak natin yan, bagsak natin ang shoulder, then mas magiging madali ang pag-control sa ball. So now, I will start with the lessons telling my students to glide the ball using open strings. So with open strings, mas madali mo na makontrol yung right arm. So right arm, flat ball, and then sa dulo naka-flat, and then back. And then some string. Now the problem is, ang nangyayari minsan habang nag-glide, umuusok ito. Pag ito umusok, pumunta doon sa bandang harapan, nag-slide yung ball sideways. Therefore, lumilikot yung ball. Pag gumalawang elbow, ayun, nakita na. Pati yung tunog na apektuhan sa nag-slide natin yung sound. So, kailangan makontrol natin. The elbow should not move. Ang movement ng elbow ay kapag lilipat ng straight mo across. So, ang titignan natin, ang galaw nito, kalahati lang. Ito lang. Yan, ganito lang. Hindi natin pwedeng i-usap. Kasi pag gumalaw na gano'n, kung titignan nyo without the violin, tignan natin yung galaw ng bow kapag kapag steady ang elbow, straight yung bow. Now, once na gumalaw ang elbow sideways, lilikot yung bow. Okay? Lumilikot siya or gawa ng lumilikot. So, parang nag-wiggle yung bow. So, ngayon, pag andito yung violin, pag gumalaw ang elbow, sumasama yung bow. Therefore, kailangan steady lang ang elbow. Ayan, steady. Okay, para straight yung bow. Okay, so yun yung pinaka-basic na kailangan matandaan natin when we're playing violin. Hello. Oh, may mga dumating na pala. Si after ni Ben, tips. I see. Yeah, of course, Rada and then Rexter. Salamat po sa pag-attend. Then Alian and Fasha. Okay, so yun yung pinaka-basic. Now, sino ang gustong magpakita na ng kanyang playing para ayusin natin? Anyway, this is a beginner's masterclass. Ibig sabihin, hindi kayo kailangan matakot. Hindi ito kagaya ng advanced na kapag nag-masterclass talagang kailangan ay malinis yung playing. Dito ay beginner's masterclass, kaya huwag kayong mahihiya. Okay, and again, thank you sa mga nag-member na. Yung mga members, hindi ko kasi nilagay sa perks at baka ako ay pagalitan ni YT na meron free na lesson every month, pero once every month lang. Dahil pag dumami kayo, hindi ko kayo nabibigyan na may free lesson one-on-one ang bawat members. Bawat magme-member mag-join sa ating channel. So as long as members kayo, then you'll have the free one-on-one lessons every month. So yung mga hindi pa nag-violin na gusto nung matuto, it's time for you to buy an instrument. Kasi exclusive yun. Hindi siya magiging online unless gusto nyo gawin. Hindi siya magiging public unless you want to post it in your channel. Pero definitely hindi ko po-post sa aking channel yun. Exclusive lang na nakapost sa aking channel ay si Lay kasi siya ay aking scholar. Okay. Thank you, Alia. Okay, so hi Carl. Sino na ang ready na magpakita ng kanyang playing? Kailangan i-take nyo na yung chances nyo or opportunity na magpa-check kayo ngayon kasi darating yung time baka dumami yung mga members na gusto magpa-check or kapag dumami yung members, may hirapan na kayo kung sino-sino yung mga gusto na magpa-check. So, as early as now, mas maganda na nagsisimula na kayo take advantage habang konti pa, nagsisimula pa lang ang membership. So, sino gusto magpa-check ng kanyang playing? So, I request na, thank you, Charmaine. Nandito ka na rin. Sino ang gustong magpakita ng kanyang playing? Audience lang daw muna si Carl. Okay, so, kapag wala mo nang gusto magpakita niya kanyang playing, ay ako lang. Dahil hindi makikita. Mas magaling tumutog pag medyo nakataya. So, yeah. For sure, marami rin kasi sa inyo nagpe-play ng galing sa isang book na normally puro piyesa lang yun nandun. So, check pa naman ka siya. Yeah, so, diniscuss ko na kanina yung pinaka-basic. May international, na ba tayo? Wala pa. So, sige, Tagalog na muna tayo. Later, kapag dumating galing sa India, at saka kapag dumating nasa nakatara sa US, papalit tayo ng Indian construction. Okay, so sa playing, again, of course, kailangan ay flat yung bow. Hindi siya nagbibigo. And then kapit. Kailangan may bite yung bow sa string. So how would you know kapag flat yung bow sa string kapag kayo nag-play? Kasi minsan parang nakakadulit pag sisilipin niya, hindi niya makita. So, ang suggestion ko, kung titignan dito, harap kayo sa salamin. So, doon yung tignan. Kailangan na nakita niya ay yung wood, yung hair strands, hindi dapat siya nag-appear sa both sides kapag kayo tumutugtog. So, pag humarap kayo sa salamin, sa harap ko kasi may mirror dito. Kung napanood nyo na yung aking isang video na nakaharap ako sa salamin. So, ito yun. So, nakaharap ako sa salamin. And then yung tawag dito, yung bow stick, kailangan ay, hindi nyo makikita yung hair strands. Wala kayong makikita ng puti na ganito or dito. Kailangan ay yung itim. So, tingin kayo na. Yes. So, sa simula, medyo, thank you so much, Charmaine, sa pagiging member. Now, you need to buy an instrument para masimula ka magtuturo sa'yo. Thank you. Hello, Miss Nana. Yes, so, ayun. Buti na lang, wala pa tayong mga non-Filipino speakers. Kaya Tagalog muna tayo. Thank you, Charmaine, for joining. Yeah. So, okay. So, ang pinaka-importante sa simula, if you're a beginner, kailangan nakabite yung bow sa string. And then, flat bow. Hindi nyo makikita kung nakalata sa salamin or kung titignan nyo dyan sa screen, hindi makikita yung hair strands, yung puti. Yun, sa both sides, hindi nyo dapat nakikita. Dapat ay pag-glide. Yung dark na part since I'm using a carbon fiber bow, kulay itim lang dapat yung makikita. Pero pag wood, siya ay syempre brown dapat yung makikita nyo, hindi yung white part. Kasi pag yung white part, ibig sabihin nagtitilt yung bow, hindi focused yung tunog. Nagbabago rin yung sound. So, gumagano'n siya. Pati yung sound nagbabago, hindi siya focused. And then recap ulit. Pinaka-importante pati yung paggalaw ng elbow. Actually, yung hindi paggalaw ng elbow. Kasi ang elbow dapat ay steady. Okay, for sure, madali yung pag pinapanood parang ang dali-dali ko rin. Pero hindi siya madali kasi kailangan makontrol nyo. Normally, as a beginner, kapag nag-glide kayo ng bow, may tendency siya na gumalaw sideways kasi syempre hindi nyo makontrol. Pag makontrol nyo na yung movement, normally ang gumagalaw lang half ng inyong arm. From elbow down to the fingertips, yun ang gagalaw. So, ito lang. Yun lang ang gagalaw. So, when is the time to move the elbow? Ito ay kapag nagpo-cross lang ng string. G string, D, A, pag E string almost touching the waistline na siya. So, kapag G string ay nakataas, but still, lower siya compared dito sa ating wrist. So, about 5 degrees higher kumpara dito sa wrist. Para hindi niyo bubuhatin yung weight. Kasi pag ganito, bubuhatin niyo na yung buong weight ng arm niyo habang nag-play. Then, it becomes more difficult. Why? Kasi pag tumugtog na kayo ng mabilis at maraming nota, ang bigat na niya, baka matanggal lang yung arm. No, just kidding. Mapapagod kasi, madali, kapag naipon yung pagod dito, baka umabot kayo sa ospital. So, you have to make sure that the weight of the shoulder, the right shoulder, and the elbow is actually down. So, katulong nyo ang gravity para hatapin yung weight ng arm nyo. Kaya yung gravity na siya pumatak ng weight ng inyong arm para maluwag ang play, mas madali. When I play, kailangan ito lang, maluwag lang siya. Okay, of course, madali siyang tingnan sa screen, mahirap gawin sa siya pag nag-play. Kapag sa simula, ang tendency niyan, tataas ang right shoulder. So pag tumaas yan, mahirap mag-play. And then, dumadagdag pa yan, ang hirap-hirap ng tumutog kasi bukod sa awkward na yung position nyo, mas mabigat pa siya kasi yung weight ng buong arm ay binubuhat nila. So, tumutog, tigil. So, yung right way ay yung proper posture habang nag-play. So, remember, flat O. And all the hair strands of the bow should point straight. Remember, hindi pwede ang sideways. Isa pa, yung naman ating spine or your spinal dark kasi yung side ko. But anyway, at na part, kailangan ay hindi mag-slouch, hindi kayo mag-curve, hindi parang letter S. Hindi ganun. Kailangan ay projecting sound. So, both shoulders, you'll need to pull them outwards. Buksan niya. Yung chest nyo, palabas. So, open. So, definitely, kung katawag kayo ng violin, pati yung posture nyo maayos, pati kapag naglakad kayo eventually, ay mas maganda ng pakinggan. So, pag tumayo kayo, magiging ganito. Magiging papasok yung inyong German. Tiyan. Kailangan nakapasok. Stomach in, tapos chest up. Pagkatumugtog. Kasi kailangan malakas ang katawan niyo pagka nag-play. I mean, yung lakas ng katawan niyo magdedetermine kung gaano kalakas ang mai-project niyo rin na sound. Kaya kapag mahina ang katawan, naka-slouch, or naka-curve, letter S, pati ang sound niyo, lalabas na ganun din. So we need to strengthen your stance. Kailangan maayos. Both legs, maayos siya, hindi naka-lock. Pero maluwag lang siya pero strong. Kailangan both legs or feet naka ano siya, gravitated. Ibig sabihin, ano siya, nakabalanse siya sa ground, sa floor, pero hindi nakalock yung mga knees natin para maluwag lang. And then, again, earlier, kailangan yung violin, yung scroll, nakapoint towards sa ating gaze. Ang gaze natin ay dito sa may scroll. Sa isang direction yun. Yung eyes, yung nose, nakapoint sa scroll, sa dulo, para lahat ay nasa isang direction. And then, yung violin, kailangan ay parallel. Hindi siya nakatulog pababa, hindi nakatulog pataas. So, ganito siya, straight. And then, pag tumugtog kayo ng open strings sa simula, kailangan merong mirror sa harap ninyo para makita niyo ang dalaw ng buong katawan. Especially yung bow. Kung gumagalaw na siya, kung malikot yung bow ninyo, aayusin niyo agad. So, ito. Okay, so now, of course, meron din. Oh, hello, Hithra. Okay, you have to. Oh yes, Shakti. Okay, so one of our international members are here now, so I'll have to um, teach you now in English. So, Shakti, Hithra is Shakti. Okay. Yes, good afternoon here. It's almost 6 in the evening. So now, when you glide the bow, as I was saying earlier, aside from it being straight, all the hair strands should bite the string. Okay. You never wiggle the bow while playing. So, with a nice open sound, you can easily control the bow by not lifting the elbow as you play only on one string. If it's on each string, you just have to focus the elbow down there. Never lift it up while playing on each string. So it stays close to the waistline. Not like this, because you might accidentally touch other strings. So that's the problem if the elbow keeps on moving sideways or all over. So you have to stay close to the waistline if you're playing only the B string. If you're on A string, should be just yeah, just a few degrees higher than your waistline. So that's A string. And then another, well, about 10 degrees higher, D string, and then G. Okay, and then what else? So last time, so that's the very basic way, or the basic, the fundamentals of violin playing that you need to remember. So now, last time I also mentioned about singing each note as you practice your sight singing or your music reading. So yeah, a few of you tried their best singing the scales. Um, what I've noticed is that sometimes we think that the pitches or the tones that come out from our voices or from our throat, let's just say, no, okay, so our mouth, actually in tune, even if they're not. So the best thing to do when you're trying to intone, what do I mean with intone? To It's like teaching your brain the right pitches of the notes that is actually in tone. If it's intonation, then that's actually the pitch, the specific pitch of each note. So now, when you're intoning, a tone or a sound, you will have to use your ears like intensely. You will have to listen very well. So if the pitch is like, let's say, this, D, this is D, that's the note D. So how would you intone this? So for the first, for a beginner, you will just have to slide towards that pitch. For example, I'm a really beginner, so my voice is like this. Sorry. Of course, they're too far away. Then you just have to slide your voice going up or down until you reach this pitch. Then you, once you arrive at that pitch, you have to hold on to it. So now you call this re, re. Or sometimes if your voice is quite high, so let's say, that's your voice. It's indefinite. Then start. First, you need to distinguish whether your voice is higher than the pitch you're hearing. Of course, my voice is higher. I could tell that easily. But for you as beginners, I don't know if you could easily tell if my voice is higher than the one I'm playing, than the tone you're hearing on my violin. If you said that my voice is higher, then you're in the right track. Therefore, you have to slide your voice going down until you reach the pitch. So, once it matches, hold on to that note, and then you call it re. So the same process when you play all the notes. So starting on C, so you say do. So do. Until your voice matches that of the violin's sound. So as long as it doesn't match the instrument sound, whether a violin or an electronic keyboard or a piano, then you should not stop. You have to look. The best way is to slide your voice, not skip or not steps. You need to slide the voice. Sliding a voice is like this until you arrive to that correct pitch. That's the C. So do, and then sing that note. So now I will call this do. Do. And earlier I already tuned the D. So D or re. So do. Re. Yes, I know. Because this is the first time you're doing it Shakti. That's why it's very difficult. You're not used to doing it. And in the future, it will be much easier for you to play the pieces you want to play. Once you've trained yourself how to sing the music in front of you, or how to sing the exercises or the notes that you are reading. So, yeah, it takes a lot of practice. Well, in the conservatory, it took me 2 years because that's a 2 year subject. Well, the solfege 1 and solfege 2 for 2 semesters. So 4 semesters all in all. So 2 years for me. I know that's quite long. So what more for non-conservatory learners? You have to be, well, you have to be patient and don't get bored, because you'll benefit a lot from it if you're able to sing the tones as you play them. Actually, when I play, I cannot play any music if I don't sing it there, if it's not there. Maybe because I was trained to do it already, but that will benefit a lot if you already know the pitch of each tone even before you play the music or the exercise. So just by looking at the music, the piece, the score, you should already hear the sound. Yeah, that's difficult, you know. So it's like singing while reading. That's it. So that's solfege. So when you try to intone the scale, you start with, of course, the first note. You have to intone it correctly because that's your starting point. So, and the longer you sing it in tune, then the faster you're actually teaching your brain about the right pitch of each note. So, do, same pitch. Mi, fa, and then once you're used to that, you don't even need to sing or hum the tones anymore because it will just be silent, but your brain is ringing the sound just there, just inside. So really, you made me laugh. Well, anyway, so the advantage of that one is if you're playing a scale, because when I play the scale, I'm actually singing the notes, but of course you don't hear it, it's just there. So the advantage of it is that you're not, your brain is telling your fingers where to go, not, it's based on the pitch or based on the sound that rings there, not based on the tapes or just the finger number and markers. So that's the disadvantage when there are too many markers there because you're basing your intonation on the placement of the tapes. So you're not actually hearing it. So it will be problematic in the future how you would really tune those notes. Because if you will be used to placing your fingers because of the markers, because the markers tell you that you should put your pointer here, the second here, and all, then you will be lost the moment you start playing more advanced pieces where tuning each note should be, of course, correct. But even in easy pieces, you have to tune all the notes correctly and properly. And that is the most difficult part being a violinist, because at the same time, while playing, you're tuning every note. And it makes the work more difficult if you're basing it on the markers, on the tapes at first. So it's actually going to make you learn the instrument a little bit longer because you're teaching your eyes how to tune the instrument. And yeah, that's the irony when you put markers on your instrument instead of teaching your ears how to listen to the notes. If you teach your ears how to listen well, then your ears will tell you where to put the fingers or where to place them. As you stop each note, your ear should be the one dictating where to put them, not the markers, not the tapes, because tones are meant to be heard and not meant to be gazed at. Meaning, if you're playing music, you're not supposed even to look at your fingers. You just need to listen to them as you play. Because if you're used to the markers, then it will be very difficult to play or to sight read any music in the future. Because you'd have to learn first where to put them with the help of your eyes instead of your listening. Um, Hello, Jazz. Sorry. So yeah. So while giving the basics, you can actually write. Well, you can ask questions or perhaps any of the problems you're encountering as you practice the instrument. So I could help you out even further, or might as well play your exercise or piece. I'll give you the link. You can join me here. So you can show your playing, and then I could, yeah, simply correct the if there's something that I need to correct on or work on. So that's the link. Before I continue with my speech, I'm just kidding. So let's see. Yeah, solfege is not easy, not at all. Because when I started reading music, well, when I entered the conservatory without knowing how to read music at all, so I actually played the guitar. That used to be my major instrument when I entered the conservatory. So I tried to read the music piece, but using my own way. So I had to devise a way how to read the music before, and I was able to perform, luckily, the piece without the panel noticing that I cannot read music. So I performed Balakwagili because Richard Kleiderman when that was back in the 80s. It was so famous, but I went to college when I was in the 90s. But I had to memorize the piece. But yeah, I had to put the music in front of me just to like not really to fool them, the panel, but so that they won't ask me anymore if I could read music, or else I will find the auditions. So what I did was I had to memorize the piece, and then I put the music in front of me while playing. So I wasn't asked anymore if I could read, or they would not ask me to read something about theory and all. So I passed my auditions without knowing how to read music. Well, anyway, so that means when I already entered as a freshman in the university, it was a struggle, especially the first semester, because I really cannot read music. So during the first lesson in solfege, we were already asked one by one to sing every note. The first lesson was a scale, and I couldn't read the music, I couldn't sing the scale, and then that's the time that my professor noticed that I cannot read music. And then what she said, "Oh, it's not going to be my problem. That will be your problem. So next lesson, you should be able to read the music already." So in the span of just a week, I had to force myself how to read music. I had to teach my brain how to distinguish each tone. Well, anyway, it's just a scale. It's just from C to high C and a little two notes extra up to E. So I had to practice it going up and down and then in leaps and skips. And then, yeah, I got used to it. Anyway, you just memorize the seven tones in the scale. It just goes up, they just go up and down. But you will need to remember, like the steps of the ladder, where you need to stop. If it's an A, you need to remember the pitch of that note. If do, la, you should know that that is la. If you want to step up to sol or G, So make sure that you can sing the right pitch. So that's the challenge I told myself. And yeah, I was able to do it in 1 week. Of course, not perfect, but my professor was happy about my improvement. So, oh, now you can read music. Yeah. Okay, so have anecdotes. Do you have any problems with your violin playing? You have to let me know. I try to train my ears here and place fingers. Yes, Shakti, I suggest that you really train your ears by listening to the keyboard longer. Because what you're doing is you're just playing the scale up and down, but the tempo is too fast. Ta, ta, it's not going to work because you're not giving enough time for your brain to process. So each note should be sustained as long as you can, as long as you get the right pitch, as long as you can intone that particular pitch. So if it's C or Do, you have to press it one time and then one, and then another time the same note until you get the correct pitch. You might want to record and then review, record, review if you're doing it right, if you're singing the notes correctly. So that's how you should train your ears. You don't just play them ta ta ta, and then if you miss it, you missed it. It's not like that because then you would be wasting a lot of time. It's not really helping if you would just play or sing the notes like quite fast, da, 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 and then not in tune. That goes same when you're playing scales on the instrument, on the violin. If you're playing too fast and not really intoning the right pitches, then it's not really helping you a lot. Maybe a little bit, not much. So the benefit there is very slim. So, any more problems here? Who else? So solfege and music theory come along while playing or trying to learn an instrument. They should go together. When you're learning any musical instrument or even you're singing, you should really learn how to read music. Hello, hi Aldrich Zimmerman. You also part the right wrist. No, actually, the right wrist should be very flexible. You see, while you're gliding the bow, uh, let me just take this off for a while so you can easily see it. Now, so if the arm is flexible but with a nice grip onto the bow, it will naturally be moving like this. So the movement will be going down as you do a down bow, and then a little bit going up. Not force going this way and not force going that way. But once it's really flexible enough, then it's like it's like a machine where there's the connection of the bolts there that will automatically we just bend a little bit when you do a down bow and move bend upwards. You don't really keep it straight at all times. This will be very stiff. If you try to make it straight at all times, this is stiff. The sound that you produce would also be very stiff. Actually, yes, yes. Bending is a very important flavor in your playing. To make it sound more smooth, you really have to bend it. So you notice that there's a very minimal bending of the wrist. You don't do it on purpose, but the bow should be the one that's pushing it a little bit down there and pulling it up there. If your arm is flexible, then you would notice that your play will be like this. some teachers will tell you to keep it straight, but the sound will be very stiff. That's the sound of a stiff arm. You don't want that. That's permitted. When you bend it, that's actually the right way to do it. It's like the breathing. When you're playing, the sound should breathe as well. So that's when you're bending the wrist a little bit. But don't overdo it. Don't do it on purpose. It's not like this. Okay? So let the movement bend your wrist. It's the movement that's doing it. It's not doing it on purpose, like oh, I have to bend my wrist, not like that. So the movement will tell you how much bending you need. Okay, again, yes, because you were not here earlier. So again, you have to remember that the elbow should be steady if you're just playing in one string. If it's steady, then you'll get the natural bending of the wrist. The natural bending of the wrist. Not like this. This is very stiff. You don't want this sound. Also, if the wrist is stiff, then your bow, watch the bow, would go places. See that? Instead of having a perpendicular bow to the string. So instead of a straight bow, when the bow slightly bends, downwards and upwards according to the movement of the arm. So in short, the whole arm should be very flexible. This is flexible, but at the same time, you should have a good grip onto your bow. Should be able to hold this nicely, should be able to apply the right pressure. Of course, we'll have to explore how much pressure you're going to apply to the instrument. So there, given that you know how to hold the bow properly, and then how to bite the strings nicely, and then keep the elbow from moving sideways. Because this is the one preventing you from having a bendable wrist. If the elbow moves sideways, then you're done. You won't be able to play nicely anymore. So, tame this. Has to be steady. Bend this so that only half length of the arm moves. That's the movement you want, especially if you're playing here, middle part of the bow. This is when you're playing, let's say, in moderate speed and fast speed. This is where you focus. And when you're playing fast, you actually only need the wrist to move. Just the wrist. And when you cross from one string to another, the wrist is the one doing the movement. So it's very important. If it will be stiff, if it cannot move, if it's not bendable, then you will have a lot of problems. Okay, so what else? Yes, yeah. It has to be very flexible, and at the same time, you will have to manage the way you glide the bow onto the string. So glide the string with a nice flexible arm, not just the wrist, the arm. So no movement from shoulder down to the elbow if you're only playing on one string. If it's just the A string, then stay there, steady. This is the only part that moves. And then, if you're only playing E string, then stay here. Then just there. And then bend this. Don't overdo it, not like this. The bending should be suggested by the movement of half of your arm, from here to here. So this works best at first when you only try doing this without the violin, just the bow. Just watch the movement from here to there. And then with the instrument. And when you do this with the violin afterwards, practice in front of a mirror. The bow should go downwards, perpendicular to the strings. Okay, no sideways, no moving sideways, not like this. Steady there, like that. There. And once you're playing fast is in fast beat, all you need to do is shake it with the wrist and the fingers, and that's it. Okay, so you're welcome. So who else? Outreach, if you're a member of the Violin Beginners Lounge, you might want to post a video of your playing so I can help you better. And well, whoever wants to show their performance to be corrected, you can just click this link so that you could be seen onto my screen and I could hear you also. And yeah, we could hear you also. So I could hear you as well. So there. So what else we need to work on? So yeah, so it's a good thing that somebody asked about the risk. This is very important. A lot of professors would say it has to be studied. I would say not really. So you would only make it still or steady or stiff when you're playing baroque and then you're just playing on one string. But if not, especially classical music, you should have a bendable wrist. It will sound more smoother. It will be smoother, and it will have a nice aesthetic touch to the tones, if that is bendable. So, who else? More questions? Any other question? Well, I would like to thank again my members for today. Charmaine, she's actually not a musician, but since she's a new member now, Charmaine, you might want to get an instrument, get started learning. Yeah, because you get a free one-on-one lessons every month as long as you're a member. And then Kyle Mac also, the better half of my brother, and Rada. Well, as soon as you get your instrument back, as soon as it gets fixed, so within a month, we can have a one-on-one lesson. So, any other questions? A lot of members today are shy. Nobody clicked the link. So who else? Because if not, then perhaps we'll continue this next time, and hopefully you could join me here on screen, so we could hear you playing. Yeah, and we could work together how to better create an aesthetic in your playing. So, thank you, Jazz, for coming here. Jazz story. I thought I forgot to greet Jazz. Welcome. And who else? Okay, so any more questions? Yeah, yeah. Feel free to join my channel. Okay, how actually, and it takes out in violin tuning. Rich, who is inclined for scientifics. Or sparking around because so far. Uh, yeah, so actually, before you even tune your instrument, as long as you did not snap any of the strings, you should always monitor the bridge of your instrument. Once this is Not straight anymore. I mean perpendicular to the belly of your instrument. If it's already going towards here or there, then you need to do something. You need to straighten this up. How will you do it? I will just show you how it's done. This is how it, but it needs practice. So you might want to put like towel underneath here and here before you do this, but it needs practice. So what you can do is actually flip this or click it up, up to position the if the bridge is going towards this direction, if it's inclined to here, then you would have to push it, but with a nice throw. So, pop, fast throw there, pump, pump, until it moves, until it gets straight. Or, of course, if it's falling to this side, then you would have to do the other way around. So here, tap, tap, until it gets to the position you want to have it positioned. Of course, it has to be straight up, pointing upwards. And then, once there's always a problem when the, what you call this, the pegs, the tuning pegs get slippery or sometimes too tight. What you need to do is to untighten first. For example, you snap the G string. Of course, you need to remove the snap string first, and when you replace it, insert the string, and then as you tighten it, you have to push it inwards. So here, pushing inwards, tighten, pushing inwards, and then, of course, while doing that, you will always have to pluck the string if you're getting close to the pitch, and make sure that your tuner's on as well to tell you if you're close to the pitch. So while turning the peg, pushing it inwards, like this. Once you're very close to the pitch, you don't need to turn the peg anymore. If you have a fine adjuster, I only have two, then use this if it's very close to the pitch. Or if you exceed it, for example, if one almost half a step higher than what your tuner says, then what you will need to do is, of course, to untighten. When you untighten it, you have to do it slowly. So go back again and tighten slowly, then go much lower to the right pitch so that you can tighten it again back again by pushing it inwards. Still the same technique, push it inwards until you reach the right pitch. And then when it's close, use the fine adjuster. If you don't have any, then you will have to train how to tune the instrument without this one. It will be slightly trickier at first, but you'll get used to it. Now, how will you turn the pegs once it's very close and you don't have a fine adjuster here? What I do, if it's a G string, I put my pinky fingertip there. I place it here, and then my third finger, the other side of the other ear of the scroll, here and there. So I anchor them there so that I could have a nice grip onto the scroll. And then I use those two fingers to tighten or to loosen the peg. So I anchor these fingers. And then like that. So like this. Tighten. Remember, when you tighten, you always push it inwards. Not too much also. There. Now, if the tuning pegs are, let's say, like brittle, brittle is when it gets over tightened easily, then you might want to get this like lipstick type. It's like it's a dope for the peg dope, and then you apply it onto the part of the peg that touches the peg box. So you have to apply it, but lipstick in it. We just call it lipstick, but it's actually not a lipstick. It's Well, it's something that would lubricate it a bit, but not really slippery. Just a little bit of lubrication. Or if you have an access to a chalk stick, you can apply it. So remove the peg and then apply a chalk stick there, and yeah, it serves the same purpose, but not as good as when you have the dope stick. But you will have to order that, have to buy it. Yeah, it's not as cheap as a chalk stick. So what else? Those are trials and pedestrians that is happening. Yeah, yeah, I've been to that kind of problem. So when it was my first attempt to restring my instrument with a new set of expensive strings. Well, I have two sets. I actually broke all of them because I could not gauge first how much pressure and how many turns I should do. Yeah, I broke the two sets. So what I did, well, I had to buy a cheap one, a cheap set again. So it will take time before you could really master how much pressure you would add. So I suggest you start buying the cheapest set and really practice tuning, loosening, tuning it all back, restring and back and all. Um, while you're still using, well, not the best instrument at the moment because you're just a beginner or you're just practicing how to become a violinist in the future, then start having this practice set. And don't be afraid to snap a string or two or three or even all of them. Then you would know how much pressure it needs for you to turn it, or so you would know what is too much for a string, for the E string or for the A string. Just make sure to be, yeah, we have to be cautious when we do it. So, oh, thank you so much. I, let's see. Aningamo channel. Sorry, I'm having a hard time pronouncing your channel name. I'm sorry about that. Is it Aning Amin Amon channel? Sorry about that. Hopefully you're not laughing at me. So there. So what else? Um, So about tuning and then about the wrist, what else? Maybe there's room for another one, for another question, and then we will wrap it up. Uh, oh, okay. So oh, yeah. So I've been telling students how to divide the bow. But the best way to do it is if you're playing like a four count note, that means you have to use the whole length. So from the frog up to the tip and back. Now, if it's only two counts, then you'll have to lessen it. If you divide it in four, this is the middle, one, two, three, four. Remove one count here and one count there. So you will need only to focus from here to here, two counts. So two counts, one, two, two, only here. Earlier, full bow here to there. Now, two counts here to there. Now, if it's one count, instead of focusing on either side there, then these two, they would have to be placed in the middle. So this one count will be right there. So one count now. One, two, one, two. And then half a count divided by two. And then put it in the middle as well. So one, two, one, two. A quarter of a count. Then divide it into one, two, one, two. And then of course you know the rest. So the faster you go, the more you should focus towards the middle of the bow. So you would have to go to the middle. So a bit of demonstration. So 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, counts, you can start here. Yeah, just up here after the guard there, the silver thingy. So two, stop there. Two, and then one count would be almost just there in the middle. So and then half a beat. One and two and one and two and quarter of a beat. One, two, three, four, one, two, three, four, one, two, three, four, one. And then an eighth of a beat would be depending on the pressure for the dynamics you want. So now, if you're playing the fast notes, stay here. There, maybe 1 or 2 millimeters length only, that much only. So here. So slow, going faster and faster and faster towards the middle. So that's how you divide the block. Now there are times also where even if it says a quarter of a beat, when it says marcato or accented, then you will have to position the playing here to the lower half or even to the front. But that is a more advanced technique. So the basic ones is really going towards the middle. More advanced ones, you would either play here or you will go up there. So it depends on to the character of the music you play. Yeah. Okay, you're welcome, Shakti. So who else? 7 minutes to go. What other problems do you encounter while practicing? So let me show you the members. Radha and Kairmat and Charmaine. Oh, sorry, I forgot to promote the channel, so I would have to please new members. These are the all these channels. Hopefully you could connect with them. This one is KR. And then the other one is sorry, wrong button. Okay, for my channel members, you might want to connect with them. These are their links. Radha, I cannot find your channel, so you might want to post it instead. Yeah, because some of them are really YouTubers, and they need your help as well. If you could support them, just click and subscribe. Okay, so what other problems do you encounter while you're playing violin? hopefully next time there will be at least one or two who would perform an exercise or a simple piece would be enough. Just so I could correct something. So, so no more. Going twice. Once, twice, and twice. Let's see. Anything else? Oh, I forgot to greet Mommy Lynn. So yeah. So thank you for staying here. Special for the new members, Kaya Mac, Rada, and then Charmaine, very supportive. And then thank you for coming, Alian, Shakti or Yusra K. And then I'm in Mon channel. Thank you for being around. Kanji, Kanju Minamoto. And then Nana Honey, thank you for coming. And then Mami Lynn, Bog, uh, Aldrich, thank you for for asking earlier also. Hopefully I was of help earlier. And then Jazz, thank you so much. Um, Carl, Evan, James, Karas, and yeah, of course, Baxter Clicks. Thank you for coming over. Lady Pie vlog from Norway. And then who else? Boy T Gang. Thank you. Yeah, so again, thank you very much for staying with me and for listening, tuning into my tutorial. So hopefully next time I will see you again. And for my new members, we can schedule a one-on-one tutorial. Yeah, just send me a private message. So I think that's it for today. Thank you so much, and around the Philippines, have a nice evening. And yeah, all else before evening, well, have a nice afternoon or even morning. So bye for now. Thank you for staying.